the basement price for Bitcoin, and maybe even the high price of this cycle as well for Bitcoin. Anyways, that is the topic of today, as we are going to be going over a long-term price prediction for Bitcoin's likely next lowest price during the next cycle low. If that's not redone enough. This will go hand in hand with our long-term analysis on the halving, which happened just yesterday, and hopefully this video can provide some long-term perspective as to what to kind of expect for Bitcoin and where Bitcoin's at right now. So hopefully this is useful to the investors out there, or the community members, as some people call themselves. Right? You invest into it. You invest into the altcoin, and then it goes up a lot, and then it goes down even more, and then you become a community member / investor as well. Anyways, it looks really good on your LinkedIn profile and also your Tinder as well. Let's just jump right into the charts button over here. What we're going to be using for this particular analysis is the HPDR cones indicator, which is a forwards price projection probabilistic mechanism, basically. Long way of saying it gives you probabilities in the futures based off of an anchoring point. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to anchor the points for these calculations at the breakout on the monthly closure of the prior all-time high. So the prior all-time high in this first instance right here was June 2011, and we can see the first closure on new highs in 2013, a couple years later. And when we go onwards and forwards from there, we see a couple things actually. In fact, I could even say maybe this is the new all-time high projection as well. Although I don't know how much I'm gonna rely on this, but in this case, Bitcoin rallies up all the way to the 78.6 level and then comes down and bases around the 50% level, as you can see right here. There are wicks below. That's fine. No closures below. But we do see, we do see a wick pretty damn close to that to the next level, the 61.8 level right there. But ultimately, in this instance, we do see that Bitcoin essentially levels off around that region. If we go into the next cycle, again, plotting the anchor point right on the breakout of the prior all-time high. So prior all-time high right here, breakout right here. We can see Bitcoin yet again rallies up all the way to the 78.6 level right here, that green one, that darker green, forest green one, I guess. And then after that, when the cycle low is in, it actually is not on the cycle low, although to be fair, extremely close to it in terms of price. But we do see the 50% level over here at about 3,900 being hit. Bitcoin did bottom out on that cycle at 3,100 to be fair, but this one did catch, I would call a more important low, just because that was coming off of the old Rona jump, right? So a lot more questions going on over there. Anyways, going onwards and forwards, we can see the next cycle right here. Again, anchoring that on the breakout of the prior all-time high. What do you know? Bitcoin actually yet again does hit the 78.6 level. Okay, that's interesting. I actually did not really plan for this, and my eye is itching like crazy right now. Like I said, I stayed up. The latest I've stayed up in such a long time the other night, and I still feel garbage. I didn't even drink. I didn't even fucking drink. I don't drink alcohol like at all, basically. I just stayed up late. Just stayed up till like 2 a.m. Fucking sucks, man. I will never do it again. It's not happening ever again. But as we can see yet again in this cycle, the 78.6 level is hit, comes all the way back down. This one does actually come down below the 50% level right here and bases at the 61.8. So, we do see some instances where it does come below on a wick, and in this case, even a closure. But still, the range between the 50% and the 61.8 level, as you can see right here, is quite tight anyways. So I don't think it's a huge miss. Anyways, but it is interesting now that I recognize that the 78.6 level has been hit on all of these prior ones. Okay, fair enough. Let's go into the current cycle, because we do have an ever so slight closure on new all-time highs. And in this case, we can see that if we were to forwards project, okay, look, I'm going to read out the numbers here. Elsa's leaving right now. I don't think this is going to fucking happen, okay? The 76 level is at a number that I'm not comfortable reading out on this video, or at least if it were to be hit, I would hope that it'd be hit like sooner rather than later this year, which I do think that the high is put in during this year, or at least as of right now, and it'd probably be in like the mid 100,000s, but I don't trust that. Like, it just doesn't pass the bullshit test to me, but that is what it is right now. Maybe it's that we haven't really seen like the true breakout just yet. I mean, kind of was it right here, kind of not. But perhaps, you know, this is to be determined. But on the other side, a lot of this does make sense, and I expect it wouldn't actually change too much if we were to anchor it even a close or two beforehand. But as you can see right here, you know, the 50% level is going to be. Let me actually get rid of the prior one because it's kind of getting in my way. It's going to be leveling out pretty much here at $60,000. The 61.8 level is going to be coming down to a maximum of about $50,000. That would be in January of 2025, and then from there curves back on up again. I do think that we would not see that even actually hit at $50,000, to be honest with you, because we've never actually seen this. You know, that sort of curvature being hit, or sorry, we've never seen that level being hit at that sort of curvature. It's happened later on. So in this case, you know, I'd say probably more likely somewhere down around here, which actually does go up over time, you know, well above $60,000. So this does play hand in hand with our Bitcoin production cost chart over here. Now, I should say that this chart has not updated just yet. I believe it will update after tonight's closure for the weekly, but this will double from $30,000 price per Bitcoin to $60,000, thus implying that the basement price for Bitcoin is somewhere around $60,000. Yes, you can get, you know, a few closures below and sometimes even come like, you know, decently below, but wouldn't really be expecting it to hang down there for too long. If it did, what I'm trying to say is that's probably an opportunity in alignment with this chart over here based off of just mathematical probabilities. Completely different calculations here. This one's based off of the fucking price to produce a Bitcoin. And again, you know, if you're not familiar with this one, we can see that throughout the history of Bitcoin, it's been pretty damn good at predicting the basement price for Bitcoin. So, you know, even during Rona dumps, even during FTX dumps, even during, you know, cycle lows, things haven't really come down or certainly stayed below the basement price for too long ever. In past halvings, like we saw back when over here in May of 2020, again, doubles, which is what I'm waiting for this current one to do. But in this case, you know, doubles, comes back down to test it. You know, it does even close a little bit below, but ultimately that was a phenomenal area, and it really wasn't below there for too long or by too much in terms of price. Same thing to a little bit of a lesser extent in 2016. This one did come down decently below it for a few closures there, but again, you know, just in hindsight, this was an opportunity, and long term, you never really saw, or it's not that you never really saw, you never saw price go, you know, come back down to that region like anywhere close to it. And then, same thing over here in 2012. This one obviously nowhere fucking near. So, you know, putting two and two together from completely different angles, you know, I do start to look at Bitcoin anywhere around $60,000, especially if it comes below $60,000, as likely a long-term opportunity. I do think that Bitcoin has actually a pretty decent chance of maybe even retesting around $60,000, you know, in this coming week or two. I'm not super married to that idea, but ultimately I'd just be looking at that as an opportunity. As we can see over here in the weekly HPDR indicator, this is a pretty strong closure with bouncing off of the 30 at 2 level, as we identified, you know, this past week when Bitcoin started to bounce. A bounce like this is a signal in and of itself. Now, ultimately, we want to see this actually close above the white portion right here, which is the median of this indicator. If that starts to happen, okay, this one's, you know, it might not happen exactly this week or next week or this month, but generally, I'd be looking for upside continuation in like the next month or two, something like that. Very, very likely towards the 30 at 2 level minimum, probably the 50% level. And those are 82,000 and 88,000 respectively, or sorry, 87,000 respectively. But of course, the median will actually update with tonight's closure. I suspect it actually will probably go up a little bit, or maybe stay kind of where it's at, which is basically 68,420. Great number right there. And if Bitcoin does start to close above it, okay, hey, fair enough. But we'll see how it opens up into next week, assuming that Bitcoin closes somewhere around here, which I think that it probably does. And that's going to, you know, drive like the likelihood of how fast we see this next move. Again, I am of the opinion that if Bitcoin essentially continues from where it's at right now without a multi-month correction, I do think this cycle is going to be much shorter than what most people are anticipating. I think it'll actually end decently before the end of this year of 2024. I think it might end in like September, October. I don't know if I'd want to like stand by that statement, at this exact time. But if you saw Bitcoin continue to like new highs, I would say definitely in May, even June, I'd probably be of that opinion. You're going to see kind of a short but sweet cycle. And then you're going to see a corrective 2025, and you're probably going to see Bitcoin coming back down kind of to where it's at right now, something like that. So yeah, hopefully this video was in some way helpful. I don't know, should we go over anything else? Yeah, I'm not super convinced that Bitcoin's like just gonna green dildo its way exactly from here. I do think that we see probably another try down around this base, but probably a higher low, if I had to guess as of right now. And if it does give way, then probably wouldn't expect Bitcoin to come, like super significantly lower. I think maybe low 50s is like the max you'd get in like a terrible situation. Who knows what sort of speculation could cause that. But as of right now, I like them numbers. I like the maths numbers going on right here. So yeah, we'll end things right there. As always, I want to wish you the best. Take care. Much love, and fuck you. And see you tomorrow. Oh, and fuck, I forgot to say. And if you like this content and you want to support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing. All good. All right. Take care. See you later.